I think I finally have to admit that I have a weird relationship with work. In weird, maybe not the right word, but definitely like an uncomfortable, a very unique relationship with work. And I think that during my introspection, during my prayer time, during my meditation time, it's become more and more apparent that I don't know what it means to rest. So I thought that this would be a perfect topic for the vlog today, for the video today, because in this culture that we're in, that's surrounded with entrepreneurship, surrounded by work, surrounded by, you're not a man if you don't do certain things, which traditionally I have no problem with that. And that's probably where my apprehension to rest comes from. So I was in prayer last week, and God basically straightforward was like, you need to rest. You need to chill out. You need to calm down. You need to rest, right? And that took the form of many different things. Like I got tonsillitis last week. I couldn't even speak. I couldn't sing. Then I got sick right after that, and then sick a little bit before that. My voice is still slowly coming back. But I was like, I feel good. It's time to work. Like I want to make some songs. I want to do some I want to do some real estate work. And God was saying to rest. And he's been telling me that in many different forms this entire year. If you've been watching at all on any other episode, that's been the recurring theme that God keeps telling me to rest. And it's not that I don't want to rest. It's that I don't know how to rest, right? I don't know how. What does it mean to rest? If you have, like, there might be a lot of things that you like to do in your life. There might be like, fishing is a form of your rest, getting away, escaping. But for me and hopefully somebody else who's watching, like my relationship with rest is all centered around work still. Like I only rest when the job's done. I only rest when, I've accomplished whatever it is to accomplish and I'm exhausted from the day. And that's when I get my rest and I'm ready to do it all over again. But God is saying, like, at the start of your day, like, at least for me right now, currently in this season, he's saying at the start of your day, rest. And I'm like, why would I sit around? And that's how I perceive it. Like, sitting around is not rest. Like, it leaves me in an unrest state. It leaves my mind wandering and racing to the degree where I'm like, God, like, why? It almost feels torturous. I'll put it straightforward. Like, him asking me to rest feels torturous. So I was like, okay, if you're supposed to rest, God himself rested on the seventh day, why would it feel like torture to me? So we'll take a look at what the Bible says in a little bit, but it's definitely something I was pondering, thinking about the past 2 weeks or so, is like, why am I so uncomfortable with rest? And there's a lot of like very easy, straightforward answers on why I feel so uncomfortable with rest. Like a lot of it has to do, like it always has to do with like your upbringing, your childhood, where you found your self-worth, where others told you your self-worth was at, and what you internalized in the whole scope of the situation. So I guess along the line somewhere in my life, I was only feeling worth it, worthy, useful, loved, meaningful, whatever it is, when I was able to produce something, when I was able to fix something, when I was able to do something, right? Like, and I think that that's something that I was never uncomfortable with growing up. I didn't realize how it was going to manifest like in my adult life, but I definitely didn't think that it was an issue to be useful, or the people around you only finding you useful if you're useful. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, this episode is brought to you by NutriShop Parker. It is your one-stop shop for high-quality supplements, protein powders, and wellness products that actually deliver. Whether you're building muscle, burning fat, or just trying to feel better every day, NutriShop's expert team can help you find what works best for you. If you're local to Colorado, stop by their Parker location for a personalized experience. And if you are tuning in anywhere in the USA, use code BRANDON at checkout for free shipping on your order. Fuel your goals the right way, the NutriShop way. All right, let's go. Does that make sense? I think other people watching this might know exactly what I'm trying to articulate in the best way I can. Is the people around me, parental, whatever, whoever else around me, was not valuing me as an individual, not valuing me as a child, not loving me as a child, unless we were in the middle of working and I found myself useful in that work. So, of course, like, you can't just in my opinion, you can't just blame whoever was watching me in creating that, because chances are they probably suffered from the same thing. Like their parents weren't valuing them, showing them affection in the same way, unless they were finding themselves useful. I think that's fascinating for the type of culture that we're in now, because in this entrepreneurship culture, in this work culture, this millionaire before 26 culture, whatever it is, that's where a lot of people find themselves not feeling worth it, not feeling loved, not feeling like they're enough. And it's reflected in almost every area of your life. Like obviously you are tricked into thinking that you can't find a suitable life partner, suitable wife, suitable husband, unless you bring stuff to the table, unless you are worth their time and energy. The whole structure is set up that way. And I'm not sure if that's something more modern or if it's something that's already been built into just us as human beings. But if you think about it, like back in the day, since we didn't have the internet, you were only really competing against the people in your 10-mile radius for the woman who most likely you would marry, because you're not going to travel to Italy and find blah, 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 or she's not going to be able to like DM somebody and compare what they have versus what you have. You're competing against the people you went to school with, and chances are you're equally yoked amongst the people in your school. So there wasn't a lot of competition, especially in what you brought to the table. Like everybody was bringing around the same amount. So I guess how it's transitioned now is like, if you don't have a Lamborghini, you don't have these things, like that would trick some people into thinking that they're not worth what they should be worth, right? And it's a lot of different topics I'm throwing at you right now, because I'm trying to organize them in a way that you guys get the full scope of what I was sitting around pondering, because I love to work. Like I have no problems with that. I want great things in this world, and I want great things in the next world as well. But when God is saying to rest, what does that mean for me, right? So I was looking at the Bible, wrote down a couple verses for y'all, and let's see. I was asking the question, and I was looking at words like, what should I do right now? And it's all centered around doing. And it was like, okay, so how do I rest? One way to rest is to be present. So verses that surround that is like, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118, verse 24. And it's like, God he doesn't just live in my future calling. Like, I know I'm here for a purpose. I know I want to do great things. I know that he's tasked me with doing things in this world, and I want to get to them, and I want to I don't want to wait. But like, God is also the God of the present. He's also the God of the past. He's the God of everything. So if he's saying to rest, be patient, wait, that is most likely, in my limited understanding, maybe he's calling me to be more present in what he already has in front of me, present that I'm missing something currently. I keep living in the future, and living in the future is never a great thing to do long term in any type of way. Planning is cool, but that old saying, like, man plans and God laughs type situation, and that has been so apparent in my life, and I'm sure in everybody's life. But Instagram does not let that seep into you, because you think that when you're online, LeBron's life has gone exactly as planned. Drake's life, it goes exactly as planned. Like these guys are these guys are getting anything and everything that they want in this world, and you're like, why am I not getting blah blah blah? So let me just work harder. And God is like, well, what I have planned for you, I already have for you. So why would you need to work extra hard, especially if I haven't tasked you with anything? If I haven't put you on assignment yet, what are you working? Like, what field are you working? And that's a very interesting topic that I was thinking. I was like, man, like if God has not told me to work today, but I feel compelled to work and to do things, who am I working for? Right? And I think that that's something I've never really sat and pondered until the last week. Like, I always thought of it like, well, I want to do my part in God's plan. I want to, faith and works, and I got the work on lock. I will go after it. I'll put my head down and we'll get after it. But God is like, well, there's no works for you to do for me. So who are you working for? And I think that surface level answer, you'd be like, well, I'm working for myself and I'm working to get things, blah, 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 blah. But if you're really trusting God with who you are and trusting God with the plans he has for you in the future that he has for you, and go to a place where I will show you, and you really trust that God is there for you, then who are you working for? And I guess another easy answer is the devil. The devil is working me into the ground. The devil is whispering in my ear in the voice of Alex Hermosi, the voice of David Goggins, the voice of these people who I look up to in a high regard, and I like their work ethic. I like what they stand for. I like the energy. But for me personally, that's not what God is asking me to do. He's not asking me to push past, to produce blood, sweat, and tears, to create the future that I always wanted. He's saying, I have your future in my hands. Do you trust that I have what's best for you? Okay, then take a rest and wait on me to give you your assignment, instead of waking up and attacking the day and waking up at 3 a.m. when everybody's asleep and getting after it, and you're going to sleep when everybody's just waking up and things like that. Like, I think like there's a time and place, as far as I know, for that type of energy, the type of grit, the type of overcoming. And I think it's a great muscle to have and to have cultivated, so when the time comes, you can overcome. But at the same time, the strength that we have comes from the Lord. So, like, maybe I don't need to work on those muscles of overcoming. Maybe I don't need to work on that 3 a.m. muscle. Maybe I don't need to work on that David Goggins who's going to carry the boats type of energy, because if God is putting me on assignment for his kingdom, he's going to equip me with what is necessary to carry out that assignment. And I think that that's something that I continually and consistently miss, is that there's those old saying everybody's saying, like, God does not give you too much. God, or what do they say? Like, God does not give you a task that's too much for you to bear. And I couldn't disagree more. I think God does give you tasks that are too much for you, so you seek his strength to fulfill the task and to carry the load of what he's asking. But of course, the actual load of God, his burdens are not heavy, his burdens are light, but the task he puts in front of you is a tall task. Like, Moses could not speak very well, yet he tasked him to go to Egypt. Is it Egypt? Free his people. He tasked him with going to speak to Pharaoh to free his people, free God's people. And Moses was like, I can't really speak this. So, like, he's giving him a task that's a tall task. Like, and there's so many different examples of that. But these people consistently sought out the Lord's strength, sought out God's power, and God equipped them with whatever it was they needed. Like, Moses can't part an ocean himself, right? None of these people in the Bible could do any of the amazing things that they did without God's equippedness, without God's spirit inside of them, without God himself acting through them. So as I'm sitting here mulling over, like, how I like to organize my life, how much gym action I need to do, how much overcoming, how much work ethic I need to accomplish this, I'm reminded that it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Like, in our weakness, God is made powerful. So hopefully that hits somebody like it hit me a few days ago. It's just like, and I think in terms of whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Luke 16:10. And I think that there's an uncomfortableness in me being a man that I feel like letting go and releasing my hold on being, how do I explain it? Like, releasing my hold on being the maker of my own future, in control of my own destiny. the protector of my household, the maker of my steps. Like I choose left or right. I'm the final decision maker. I think there's a butting heads that comes with that, and then also being a follower servant of God. I've been finding myself very like struggling with the concept of, man, like how do I sit back and just let life happen to me, because God is saying sit back and let me happen to you, knowing that I have to also suffer the consequences of my inaction. So that sentence leads me to believe that I have a trust issue in God as well. It leads me to believe that I don't believe him like he wants me to believe in him. So how else would a loving God who wants and desires my love, trust, and belief, doesn't need it, but desires it, how would that God get his son to trust, love, and believe him? I think that's where the work comes in. I think that is where the work that I've been putting on the world, the work that I've been exhausting in the world, trying to be a top real estate agent, trying to be a bodybuilder, trying to be the next best, biggest musician, singer, whatever it is that I'm chasing, I'm misplacing my work. I'm doing so much work on these other things, but the work is in the relationship that I have not cultivated. It's in the relationship that I thought was self-sustaining. But if anybody has been in a long-term relationship, you know that it takes daily work. So if I was working as hard on my relationship with Jesus as I've been working with music and bodybuilding, like all this stuff, like if I'm working that hard, what type of man would I be? What type of life would I have? What type of love? What type of blessings? What type of more? Not that you're doing it for more, but what type of more could he trust me and bless me with? There's a reason why I don't have the things that I've always prayed for, right? I don't have a Grammy, right? Something that I would have loved to have back in the day. There's a reason why I don't have it, and part of it is having to trust that what he has for me is what's best for me. Do I really believe with extended work ethic, with a very kill or be killed attitude, could I accomplish a lot of the things that I want to accomplish? Yes, but probably not without heavy sin influence, meaning that I'd have to step out of my morals to really accomplish a lot of different things. But I do think that it's possible. That being said, I'm in the gray area. I'm in the lukewarm area, because there's things that I want in this world and things that I want in the spirit world, things that I want in God's kingdom. I want to go to heaven. I want to be in communion with Jesus, but there's things that I want here. So I have treasures in both places, and that's amongst the worst places you can be. So as I'm mulling over what I really want, it's starting to strip away every so often, pretty much every day. Something that I wanted is now released from me, and I feel lighter. It doesn't mean anything to get a Grammy. It doesn't mean anything to win a bodybuilding competition. It doesn't mean anything. So as I'm looking at what means something, the only thing that makes sense logically is something that will last forever. Something that lasts forever is something that's worth it, right? In terms of where I put all of my energy and attention, obviously your family's not going to live forever. I'm not saying that that's not worth it, so don't misunderstand me. I'm saying in terms of where I'm going to put my treasure, where I'm going to put my deepest desires, my love, my trust, my belief, everything, it has to be in something that I believe is forever, something that I believe is the ultimate gratification, the ultimate joy, the ultimate everything that I've always wanted. And as I keep moving forward and moving along, it's starting to be very apparent that it's nothing but Jesus entirely. It's just Jesus, 100%. And, the word also says, whatever we give to him, he gives us back. Our cup runneth over. So I don't have to worry about being okay. I don't have to worry about if I'm going to be taken care of or not. I don't have to worry about if my future, as my vision of the future, if it's going to be something I enjoy. I don't have to worry about if I'm going to have a midlife crisis because the things that I was after, I didn't give it 100%, and therefore I don't have them, and therefore I'm disgusted and I'm upset and things go bad because if I find the true love in Jesus, if I find the true love in Jesus, then I will have found everything that I was always looking for. And there's so many different examples that money's not the way, and fame is not the way, and accolades are not the way. So how about instead of having to see it with my own eyes, I just believe and trust that everybody who's got it before me, who said it's not it, I'll trust them, and then I'll trust God 10 times more than that. So if you've gotten anything from this relationship with work, this relationship with trust, belief, it all flows together. There's always symmetry in why we do the things that we do, especially the high achievers. And I guess I'll leave you with this thought, is I always thought the high achievers were people who figured it out. I always thought people who have millions, I'm like, dang, you broke the rat race. You understand the system and you made it out. Wow, like you made it out of the matrix. But as I'm starting to understand the word more, as I'm living life to a higher degree, and life is getting better and more relaxing and there's less pressure on me, I'm starting to realize that the rat race is not what we think it is for a lot of people. The rat race is literally good versus evil, light versus dark, God versus hell, like heaven versus hell. Like that's what the rat race is. And everything is designed to keep you just a little distracted. So if you're focused on money, chasing the bag, you're not chasing heaven. And then when you get the bag, you realize more money, more problems. And this. So like I could probably do a whole other video on that. So I'll leave you with that. If there's anything I'm leaving you with, is to ponder what you're after just a little bit more and really figure out why you're after what you're after. And I think, those who seek the truth will always find it. So if you are genuinely after an answer, the right answer, because you could be after an answer, and if you're after, like, whatever you're looking for, you're going to find. So be clear that you're looking for the right answer. So I'll leave you guys with that. Until next time.
Marathon, yeah, say that to me, yeah, say that to me, oh, marathon, you can say that to me, yeah, say that, you can say that to me.